go to your local Tyson facility, and if you get in, which of course you won't, you can see what good animal husbandry requires. Anxieties are rising. I'm still singing that song. They make me sing that song. Everybody insists that I have to do it. I don't understand why. Anyway, this is the portion or the podcast of our three weekly our hen house podcasts. And this is the one where we look at what is causing the meat industry's anxieties to rise about the disaster they have created. And all too often, it all runs into the other group of people who actually know what's happening in the meat industry, which is us. And our anxieties, unfortunately, are rising as well. And then there's all those people out in the middle, and their anxieties are rising about a lot of things these days, but probably not so much about the meat industry. We're still worried about the meat industry, and, it all ties together. It all ties together, as my recent interview with Will Potter emphasized. Animal agriculture and fascism are intimately connected. But anyway, I digress. It happens so often. Our first story that we're going to talk about today is from Meeting Place, the industry site. Water, nowhere. And this is from the center of my plate column by Lisa Keefe. And she's worried about water. And God knows they should be worried about water. They probably are more worried than is being revealed because they probably don't want to talk about it too much, but she's talking about it. Water demands, I'm taking a quote here, water demands primarily in the service of agriculture. And of course, we're not just talking about animal agriculture, it's all agriculture, including, she says, livestock production, is draining vital underground reservoirs faster than ever. Meanwhile, livestock-heavy regions of the northern Great Plains are seeing dry to severe drought conditions. So we're using up all the water that's underneath the ground, and it's not being replenished. And closer to the border with Mexico, the southern plains range between extreme and exceptional drought. This counts as a crisis for the industry, for the country, for the world, whatever. And she lists the most vital aquifers in the country, the water that's being held underneath the ground that, has been building up for all these many, many, many years. And we're now using it all to make hamburgers. And to make hamburgers out of tortured animals. All right, so she's listing these are the states which she's listing are in a really, really bad situation. Their aquifers are dropping at a rate of 2 to 7 feet annually. When you think of how big these aquifers are, 2 to 7 feet is a hell of a lot of water. California, Texas, Idaho, Oklahoma, Kansas. So what do those states have in common? Let me think. So she does think that the industry needs to do something here. And she's pretty open to whatever. She talks about the fact that the industry uses water to grow the crops to feed the animals. She doesn't talk about the water that the animals actually drink, which is a hell of a lot. She does talk about the amount of water that is needed to maintain a food safe level of sanitation in the processing plants, which is what they call the slaughterhouses. That seems like it's probably I apologize for this in advance, drop in the bucket compared to what the animals are drinking and what the alfalfa crops are using up, but whatever. She does kind of recognize it and says every little bit helps. Well, it doesn't help that much. We really need a lot. More meaningful innovations are needed. Innovations that could pull water from the air at large scale. Oh, okay, let's do that. Do we actually know how to do that? Because if we can do that, that's I hope somebody's looking into that. But so far, I don't think we can do that. So maybe we should do something else in the meantime. Or create crops or process food animals that use less water. Yeah, that's what they really want to do. They want to breed cows that don't drink. Perhaps that lightning rod known as cultivated meat could be part of the answer someday. And she knows that everybody's going to get mad at her because she specifically says, save the hate mail. She's worried. I'm worried. Is anybody else worried? I don't know. I really don't know. All right. You probably have heard that, we're not going to, Kennedy, the Secretary of HHS, Department of Health and Human Services, hates mRNA vaccines. He thinks they're bad. And now he has announced a coordinated wind down of federally funded mRNA vaccine development. So let's hope COVID, is over and no more come back, because do you know, well, I won't get into it, but geez, like, it's the most ironic thing in the world that we now hate mRNA vaccines, because we'd all be dead without them. But don't write to me if you hate vaccines. I don't care. All right. So instead of federally funding more mRNA vaccines, he wants to do evidence-based, ethically grounded solutions like whole virus vaccines and novel disease platforms. Whatever. Like, let's get rid of the stuff and do some other stuff. This is really worrying the industry, because the most obvious, one of the biggest implications in the immediate sense of this is that they're canceling $776 million in funding to develop an avian flu vaccine for people. So, unfortunately, it's so unfortunate that we can die of avian flu just as much as everybody else. But, apparently that's what we're all going to do. There are other poultry diseases as well, because there's a gazillion diseases in this industry. And there are other poultry diseases, not so much that affect humans, at least yet, but that affect the actual chickens that are in development, and I'm sure being heavily funded by the government. So they're really worried about those as well. So yeah, that should be interesting. You might have heard about this mink release case. I think it happened last October, but the prosecution is ongoing now. And I just thought I'd mention, there's this very long story in Unicorn Riot about it, if you really want to know the details, but I'll just go over what's going on. They're known as the Northumberland Two, Celeste Legere and Cara Metrano. And they're facing, this is in Pennsylvania. I guess the name of the town is Northumberland. And they broke into the rich, I think I don't know whether it's acknowledged that they broke in. I don't know. But they're being charged with it. The Richard H. Stahl and Sons Fur Farm, 683 mink were released from their pens. Breeding records were destroyed. They've been charged with like an unbelievable number of crimes. But the prosecutors just dropped the RICO charge. This is a state-level RICO, racketeer, influenced, and corrupt organizations, which is good. They obviously didn't feel that they had any evidence to go forward with that. And according to Chris Carraway, who is, of course, the staff attorney at the Animal Activist Legal Defense Project, who has been on the podcast several times, or on the Animal Law podcast, quote, "We hope the court sees through the prosecution's gross overcharging of defendants accused of releasing animals who, with absolute certainty, would have suffered extreme torture and unconscionable death." In spite of that, the prosecution has now upped one of the charges from animal cruelty to felony animal cruelty. So this is in addition to the initial charges, which include agricultural vandalism, criminal mischief, theft, burglary, loitering and prowling at nighttime, accidents involving damage to attended vehicle or property, recklessly endangering another person, cruelty to animals, which has now been increased to felony cruelty, agricultural trespassing on posted land and depositing waste on a highway, and some conspiracy counts related to ecoterrorism, agricultural vandalism, and burglary. So, yeah, I mean, it's not like necessarily all of these sentences could run consecutively, but they're facing a hell of a lot of time, And as this article points out, before calling any witnesses, DA O'Donnell quietly moved to dismiss the RICO charge, one of the more serious elements in the case. At the same time, O'Donnell's office added a new count of aggravated animal cruelty, arguing that the defendants were responsible for the deaths of some mink the Stalls say died after release. And then the article points out, mink raised in fur farms are usually killed for their pelts before they turn 1 year old. It's so ridiculous. I mean, of all these charges, to be charging them with animal cruelty because some of the mink died after their release, when they were facing certain torture and death. Let's keep an eye on this case. So many heroes out there these days. All right, I just thought this was an interesting, the last article about the prosecution indicates their anxieties are rising by the way that they pressure prosecutors. And prosecutors themselves are, aligned with the industry that maybe don't need that much pressure to go after anybody who cares about animals in a serious way, like with rescuing them from certain death. But also there's the way their anxieties are rising, um, in the way I think this is an interesting article. It's from What Poultry, and it's all about how they really do not want people to raise their own chickens. And, I guess they don't want the competition. Also, there are a lot of things they worry about with diseases, but in order to do that and explain how they really want people just to buy their eggs, they have to, like, make clear how dangerous raising animals for food is. So that's what this article does, I think. Backyard flocks are more than social media highlights. This is from Meredith Dawson. The Pinterest trend is setting consumers up for failure by romanticizing the animal husbandry commitment. I mean, really, what they're romanticizing is that this isn't a horrifically cruel enterprise to raise chickens. And, this article kind of ends up making that clear. While the intention is good, they want to act like they're nice about it, but they really, really hate it. It appears that a portion of consumers who embark on the backyard chicken lifestyle have done little research on the amount of responsibility it takes to safely and responsibly, and she didn't finish her sentence, but she obviously meant raise these birds. She talks about a big salmonella outbreak that was linked to backyard flocks. Like there's no salmonella outbreaks linked to factory farm flocks. Okay. Also, while the backyard chicken lifestyle may seem attractive when you see it online, what it often does is not show how to perform proper biosecurity protocols or an understanding of poultry diseases. Additionally, many consumers don't know that chickens can live approximately 8 years if cared for properly, making them a long-term commitment. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, are you serious? Like, it would be nice if in the first place, they can live longer than 8 years frequently. It depends on the breed to some extent, but 8 years is in the low range. Um, and is the industry trying to act like they make this long-term commitment? Because as we all know, they don't lay as many eggs as they get older, and I think at some point they completely stopped laying eggs. Like, does the industry consider them a long-term commitment? Who do they try and a kid here? Like, one of the suggestions they make, this is truly hilarious. It also wouldn't hurt to visit a local farmer to gain a better understanding of the workload and what good animal husbandry requires. Yeah, go to your local Tyson facility, and if you get in, which of course you won't, you can see what good animal husbandry requires. Oh my God, these people are unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, I love this final story. This is PETA apparently heard that this woman, she's a rapper, her name is Trina, and she decided to go perform at SeaWorld. I wonder why. I guess because they were paying her money. A lot of money, perhaps. PETA sets the record straight on letters sent to Trina ahead of SeaWorld concert. This is from Hot New Hip Hop website. And all right, so Trina apparently went viral because she shared a proclaimed aggressive letter she received from PETA ahead of the SeaWorld concert. And as this article points out, I mean, I guess the only thing I know about what she said about it was aggressive, and she did share the letter, I guess, but they shared the letter here, and like, either she's faking it or she actually thinks it was aggressive to ask her to do anything for any reason whatsoever. Dear Katrina, this is what PETA wrote to her from Delaney Fisher at PETA. I hope you're doing well. We noticed that you're scheduled to perform at SeaWorld San Diego Summer Concert Series, so we wanted to inform you about the incredible impact you can make by reconsidering this collaboration. SeaWorld is a company infamous for its cruel treatment of marine mammals, and so many artists, including blah, 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 have been taking a stand against animal abuse by not performing there. It's not too late to join them, as one of the artists who are making history in the animal welfare space. At SeaWorld, orcas and other dolphins are confined to tanks that, to them, are no bigger than bathtubs, depriving them of the vast ocean environment they're meant to roam. These highly intelligent and social animals often exhibit severe stress and frustration, gnawing at concrete walls and floating listlessly due to their unnatural conditions. While SeaWorld stopped breeding orcas after intense public backlash, 18 orcas are still suffering in their tanks, and the company continues to forcibly breed other dolphins and whales, which involves forcibly impregnating them and often drugging them first, ensuring a cycle of suffering. More than 40 orcas have died at SeaWorld from causes such as severe trauma, intestinal gangrene, and chronic cardiovascular failure, most far short of their natural life expectancy. We're campaigning for these animals to be moved to seaside sanctuaries where they can finally feel the ocean's currents, many for the first time in their lives. You have the power to make a real difference. Your commitment to stay away from SeaWorld until they no longer hold animals captive would save lives. Can we count on you to cancel your performance? Thank you so much for your time and consideration. That's the aggressive letter. That was the whole thing. I read the whole thing to you. Yeah. I kind of wonder whether she just, was prevaricating and figured people wouldn't read the letter and would believe her that it was aggressive, or whether she really thought it was aggressive, because people can, how people get, like you say, the least little thing. You say, you pass the plate at Thanksgiving dinner and don't take any turkey off of it without saying anything. And people tend to think you're being aggressive. A little guilt, maybe? Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's it for this week's Rising Anxieties. It's great to be back. Always fun to hear what the industry's up to. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you can, of course, subscribe on your favorite podcatcher and or on YouTube. And please remember to leave a comment if you can, wherever you listen or watch. And if you're able, you can also donate at ourhenhouse.org/support. We would so much appreciate it.